Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to get all these parts out of here now and then get the cabinet out there, and we're going to sand it down with some 320 grit sandpaper, blow it off, wipe it down real good, and then we'll be ready to start painting it. We're going to paint the white part first, and then we'll paint the black after the white's done. I'm going to take all these parts out of here and get them stacked up over there. But they turned out real nice. They're dry and everything. Kind of hard to see at the camera. But still has the original texture on the coin door and everything. So let me get these out of here and we'll get set up to start sanding down the cabinet. Okay, I'm gonna get everything sanded down with some 320 grit sandpaper. We're gonna sand down both sides, the front, and real quickly on the inside there with 320. And then we can get it all cleaned off and get it ready to put in the spray booth and tape it off. So I'm not going to show the whole process of sanding. I'll just sand a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. That's basically about all there is to it. Now, I see a couple little nicks here and there. I'll mix up a little bit of glazing putty once I get the other side and the front done, and I'll just lightly fill in any little nicks that are there. And then when I put the epoxy primer on it, that'll cover up that glazing putty so you don't have to worry about re-primering it again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the front and the other side sanded down the same way as I did this side, and then I'll mix up a little bit of glazing putty and we'll hit any little tiny spots that we see. Okay, it's all sanded down with 320. Turned out really nice. Like I said, I'm gonna go and fix a couple of these nicks. Front looks real good. I put 3 good coats of primer on the front though. There's a little nick here that I missed yesterday, and a few little ones here. There's actually a little scratch right here. I'm just gonna fill that in real lightly. A little dimple there. Just a few little spots. You probably won't even notice it because it's white paint. But you know what, I'm doing it, I'm here, I might as well just fix them real quick. It's not like it takes very long to mix up a little bit more and wait 10-15 minutes for it to dry. You'll just be happier in the end if you do it that way. All the parts that I painted yesterday are sitting right there, ready to go back together. The parts are starting to look good in the tumbler. I'll bet you by tomorrow those should be pretty good to being cleaned. So we're just gonna mix up a little bit more of this stuff and we'll hit those spots real quick. Then should be able to just sand this with some 320, and then we'll be ready to get it all blown off after that, and we'll get it in the spray booth. Tape off the coin door area and stuff like that, and then we can start putting the gray epoxy primer on, and then after the epoxy primer, we can put the white on. And then we'll have to let the white dry for about an hour, and then we'll be able to tape off the sides and the front, and then we'll be able to do the satin black. and then we'll untape everything, and then we'll put a coat or two of satin clear over top of it. Over top of everything. And then we'll let it dry overnight. And then tomorrow, which is Saturday, we'll be able to start putting it back together. We'll have to do I'm gonna do a cap kit on that monitor. He bought a cap kit for it. It doesn't look like the picture was that bad, really. Looks like the caps are fairly new, but we'll just replace them since we have them. Normally I'll wash those monitors with a garden hose and rinse them off and everything. But on this monitor, they mounted the chassis right to a piece of wood. So I'm not gonna wash that with water because I don't wanna get the wood all saturated and get it wet like that. So I might just take some window cleaner after I discharge the monitor and pull that cup off and get the chassis off, which the chassis looks pretty clean, so I don't even think I'm gonna waste my time cleaning that either. I'll probably just blow it off. But the tube and stuff, I'll probably just take some window cleaner and wipe it down just to, so it's not dirty going back in there. No point in putting dirty stuff back in a clean cabinet that you just spent a bunch of time fixing up. So I'm just gonna go around and find any little nicks that I don't, oh, there was one back here yesterday, right here. Nothing major, goes real quick. This edge right here is a little messed up. I didn't really pay too much attention to this side. I think there's only a couple. I don't know how well you'll be able to see from where I'm at. Sort of. I don't even know. Maybe a tiny bit there. A little bit right here. I know I'm getting a little too worried about it, but I think we're good. We'll let those couple spots dry. I'll get it sanded down, I'll blow it off, and then I'll be back to start getting this thing taped off and start getting it painted. I'll show you guys the products I'm going to use to paint it with and everything, in case you guys want to get that type of product. You can do automotive painting in your garage at home. You know, it just gets on everything, so you just gotta try to vent it and stuff like that. So let me get this sanded down, blown off, and I'll come back. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm gonna take this handle here on this joystick. I'm gonna put it in my cordless drill. And then I'm just gonna take a red Scotch-Brite pad and spin this and watch what we do here. This is the easiest way to clean one of these handles rather than having to do it by hand. You can see how it's just turning nice and silver again. You got a little bit more to do right here. You just want to try to stay away from the ball. You don't want to scratch the ball all up because these balls have a texture to them. Okay, let me go grab something else real quick. Okay, I put a little bit of automotive wax on this paper towel. And now I'm just gonna take this paper towel, we're gonna spin it over this wax. I like to put a little wax on it because I think it helps it from corroding again. But you gotta keep in mind, this joystick's 40 some years old and it didn't look that bad at all. So adding a little wax to the metal definitely helps it. You can see how it gets more of the black tarnish off. And that's it, that's all you gotta do. Then you have a nice clean joystick. I gotta clean the top still, which I might be able to just clean it with this towel. Yep, that's cleaning it right up as well. So just figured I'd show you that quick tip if you guys didn't know that. Save you a bunch of time from having to sit here with a piece of sandpaper and trying to sand it. Then you get a bunch of sanding lines in it and stuff. Okay, it's blown off. It's in the spray booth. I'll blow it off one more time before I paint it. I want to cover up this hole here and the wiring and stuff inside. I just don't want to get a bunch of paint on all that stuff. So I'm just going to take some paper and tape off this opening. We don't have to be perfect, we just want to get it pretty decent. Okay, I'm going to go around and tape off some other areas and then I'll come back. Okay, I got it taped off. I taped off the emblem in the back and the wiring inside. Now, I didn't have how I put the paper over the wiring. A real good tip would be aluminum foil. If you have aluminum foil, just crinkle it up around the wiring. It'll hold a lot better than the paper. I just didn't have any more, so I had to use paper today. And then I scuffed this up as well. I want to paint this satin black so that it matches the cabinet. That's the piece that goes on the back of the monitor here. And the reason why I didn't install it is I'm going to make that piece be able to come in and out of the cabinet from behind, because this is a newer style monitor and I don't want to have that cut in the bottom of the piece of wood. So we'll just put the monitor in and then we can screw that in afterwards. So now I'm going to get this warmed up and then mix up some paint. We're going to mix up some epoxy primer first and then we'll mix up some paint after that. Okay, I'm going to mix up some epoxy primer here. This primer I use for automotive cars, obviously, but it's just Omni MP170. It's a 2-to-1 mix with a hardener, so 2 parts of epoxy, 1 part of hardener, and a little bit of reducer because we're using it as a sealer. And then as far as the white we're going to use, I just have some leftover white paint from a GM white truck I fixed a while ago. It's just Olympic white. It's just a pure white paint. We're going to use that for the sides, and then we'll use a satin black for the all the black areas. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit of epoxy primer. I'm only going to put the epoxy primer on the pink sides and that piece I made for the back, because those are the 3 pieces that have laminate on. So I just want to use this because this is going to adhere to that. So we don't need a lot of it. Mix up a couple ounces of it. And then we can go out there and we got to wipe it down with some wax and grease remover, and then we'll be ready to, we'll probably blow it off then wipe it off with a little wax and grease remover, and then we'll be ready to put the epoxy on. And then the epoxy only needs to sit for about 10 minutes before you can put the white on. And then after we put the white on, we're gonna let it sit for an hour before we tape off the white and do the black. So let me get set up, and we'll go out there and we'll wipe the cabinet all down. Inside here is just some automotive wax and grease remover. Epoxy primer, and we'll spray it on the sides. I'm going to wipe this off with a tack cloth, and then I'll start painting the sides. then we'll tape off the front and the sides with paper, and then we can get the black on. And then once the black sets up for about 20-30 minutes, we'll be able to untape it and put a coat of clear on everything. Also, we don't need a lot of clear because most of the cabinet gets covered with artwork. More than half of the side gets a vinyl sticker on it. Same thing with the front. So we don't have a lot to worry about there. So we'll let that dry for an hour. I'll come back and we'll start taping it off. Okay, it's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm gonna work on taping off the cabinet. I wanna make sure I get my tape around this edge a little bit because I painted that edge earlier, if you guys saw it. So that edge of that laminate won't show. So I'm gonna take some tape and go down the center here, right where the T-molding crack groove is, and we're gonna take the tape to there, because when I paint the black, I'm gonna bring the black over on the edge too. So we're just gonna do this all around the top and the front. The back, we gotta do a little differently. Just take this down to here. Now we can fold this over. On the back, we just need to go to the edge because we want to paint this back edge black. So we're just gonna go right here. Just a nice straight line down here. Then I'm going to put a piece around the bottom, and then I'm going to paper off this side. Okay, just going to run a couple of strips of paper. I'm gonna go grab a thinner roll of tape because it's cheaper to use than the wide stuff. Actually, I forgot I had this. This is a cheaper tape from Home Depot or Lowe's. I can use this. I don't use this on the paint itself because I worry about it being too sticky and possibly damaging the paint or leaving a sticky residue to it. But since I already put this other tape down, this tape's just gonna go over the paper and the tape, so I'm not worried about it on this part because it's not touching the fresh paint. Cut this paper down here. Okay. Want to make sure you get this taped off completely. You don't want to get black paint underneath your paper or you'll have black specks on your white paint. Now we'll get another piece of paper here. You can buy this paper at Home Depot and Lowe's. It's fairly cheap. Or you can use newspaper. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you can use plastic even. The only thing, if you use a plastic, you want to make sure you use automotive plastic because the regular plastic automotive paint won't stick to it and it'll start blowing off onto the rest of the cabinet. Okay, this last little bit right here on the side, the paper wasn't wide enough for, so I'll just take some of the yellow tape and fill it in. Oops. And I need to cut this up here, cut it back so I can put that tape on. Make sure you pull it away from the cabinet so you don't put a scratch in your new paint. And I cut it back a little too far right here, so we'll have to use the yellow tape for that part. So we'll just take this tape on the top here. And we'll grab this yellow for the rest of the way. So I'm going to repeat this process on the other side and on the front, and then I'll be back and we'll mix up some black paint and we'll get the black areas painted next. Okay, it's all taped off. I'm going to go mix up some black paint now and then we can get the black sprayed. Okay, it's time to mix up the black. Now the black I'm using is from Summit Racing again. Hot Rod Flat Single Stage Black. This is a single stage. You don't have to put a clear coat over it, but we are going to put one coat of clear over it. So keep in mind, if you are using this product and you're doing a multiple color cabinet, just to be careful because this will stay sticky. That white stuff, the white paint that we used did not stay sticky because that is a base coat product. So we just have to be a little bit more careful when we untape the white that we don't touch the black. And then we can put a coat of clear over everything. So we're going to mix up a little bit of this. And we'll knock out the black area. I like to puncture holes in my rim of my can so that it can drain back into the can rather than sitting in the rim of it. So I'll just get those punctured. This is a 4-to-1 mix, and we're going to put a little bit of reducer in it just to thin it out. And it's always a little bit of a mess when you pour out of a brand new gallon can. Fortunately, there's no way around it. Use up the rest of this hardener, and then we'll open up a new one. Up, get it in the gun, and we'll get out there and put a coat of black on. I already tack clothed everything off out there, so we're ready to go. Okay, I have a little bit of black paint left, so I went and grabbed the back door, and I just put a little bit of paint on the back door. The back door's in kind of rough shape, but I wanted to at least make it match the rest of the cabinet. Now I'm going to mix up some satin clear. This is just a hot rod satin clear. This is what we're going to put over top. We're just going to do one good coat over the whole cabinet. So I'm going to get this stirred up. We're going to let that set for about another 10-15 minutes, and then we'll get it untaped. Okay, I'm going to mix up some clear to do one coat, and then we are done. Then it's just going to dry. I'm not going to tack cloth off the white because I don't want to get any dirt on the white. This is just a 4-to-1 mix with a little reducer in it. We're just going to do one coat on everything and we will be done. All this is basically, this clear coat's doing is making it all the same shininess, and also if you want to wipe the cabinet down, you'll be able to wipe it down easier and not worry about staining the white paint over time from not having a clear coat on top of it. So I'm going to get this mixed up, get it in the gun, and we will get this cleared. kind of hard to see in the camera, but it's nice and white. And like I said, this back door doesn't look the greatest, but it's better than nothing. I didn't want to have to worry about cutting a new door right now. That door is only like 5/8 of an inch thick, maybe even ½ inch, and I don't have any of that material here right now. So this is part 4. Part 5 will be tomorrow when we start putting the coin door back together, the control panel, probably rebuild the monitor and stuff. So we should have it almost done tomorrow. I might make another video later on tonight of doing a few things on the tapper. I'm still waiting on a new power supply for tapper. So we'll need to put the Marquee in tapper and I'll see you guys later.